Right now, access to capital is probably at an all-time high. Yet, while there can be pressure to go the traditional route, there's another option. Let's look at Target, Tyson, and Clorox. Despite not hurting for cash, all three of them have used crowdfunding platforms to launch new products. Why? Well, because crowdfunding is just as much about the crowd as it is about the funding. Really, it's also crowd marketing or crowd analytics. Here to share with us the benefits of utilizing crowdfunding and how to do it successfully is the CEO and founder of PieShell, a crowdfunding platform for food and beverage entrepreneurs. So please welcome Cheryl to the stage.
Hey, woohoo! It's Monday and it's raining and you're not out in it, so it's a good day. Hi everybody, I'm Cheryl Clements and I am the founder of PieShell. And as they just shared, we are a food and beverage focused crowdfunding company. One of the things I love about PieShell is that when we say, oh, we're a crowdfunding company, and it's actually happened once today, but I won't point out who it happened with, I instantly got, oh, I'm fully funded. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. But that's one of the things I'm so excited about sharing today is to be able to actually share what crowdfunding is and what it isn't and how you can use it to really help benefit yourself. So with that little bit of a hint, what do you guys think the #1 reason people are using crowdfunding is today? It's not funding. It's proof of concept. That was done with a study over 97 projects on Kickstarter. Took a look at it, and they did a big study at Berkeley, and they found out that that's the #1 reason why people are using crowdfunding today. They want to get out in front of tens of thousands of people. They know that it's a great way for people to find out what you're actually up to and what you're doing. And so then you think, okay, well, #2 is going to be funding. No. It's still not #2 or #3. Those items, we lost them. There we go. Marketing and building a community. That's actually something that we are super excited about. We were really fortunate that we had some articles written about us in the fall because I was sitting at dinner. I was at an event in San Francisco, and he was like, well, you know, $10,000 isn't going to help any company. And I'm like, well, first of all, $10,000 will help a lot of companies. But putting that aside, I looked at him, I said, you know, it's actually not about the money. It's so much more about reaching out, putting your story out there, sharing what you're doing, and helping to build a fan base of support. And I can actually speak a little bit personally about this because every penny I have raised to date, I did with crowdfunding. And so I have over 240 people that invested in PieShell, and they are now brand ambassadors talking about my company, sharing it with the people that they know, letting them talk about it. And whether you're using reward-based or whether you're using equity, it's the exact same benefits. You're going to get that word of mouth and that marketing out there. The other thing is you're going to build a community because one of the things that we share with all of the people on PieShell, and we call them PieShellers, is that there is not going to be a venture capitalist in the world that will vet you harder than the guy writing you that $25 check on our platform. So we share all of the social channels, we share all of that media because they really want to know where their money's going, especially today. I think we understand people really want to put their money into things that they're believing in and companies that they're believing in. So back to what we were saying earlier, the crowd is much more important than the actual funding. You're desperately going to need that money, but at the end of the day, you need customers, you need allies, you need support. You know, one of the ways that we show that on PieShell is that we'll put out a newsletter or an email. The minute that someone launches with us, they'll raise some of their funds, and then we'll blast it out. One of the ones that happened in the fall, it was a company, it was called Birch Boys Chaga. How many people have heard of chaga? We got some antioxidant fans in the crowd. Excellent. So it is the highest antioxidant item on Earth. It is a parasitic mushroom that is killing birch trees. So Garrett reached into his fridge one day, and there was a big jar of what he thought was iced tea. And his grandmother was like, that's chaga, you're drinking chaga. I'm so proud of my baby boy. But he now goes out and forages and cuts down mushrooms, and he's making chaga. We sent out an email about his project on our site. 8 minutes after we hit send on MailChimp, an investor reached out and said, I want to talk to that guy. I go, whoa, 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 Nick, I love you, Nick. This guy's really, really early. He's 19. He's not looking for funding. And he's like, we love what he's doing. We want to work with him. We want to mentor him. That's the kind of benefit that crowdfunding can bring. So again, we're going to explain a little bit more about it. Market validation, customer loyalty, brand awareness, media opportunities, access to loans, angels, VCs. Again, these are some of the areas that are focused, and these are some of the things that you get. Let's talk about market validation. There's a gentleman in the room who was one of our inaugural projects. He launched with me a 1.5 years ago. He was a phenomenal mentor at a startup boot camp event that I went to. And when I explained what I was doing, he goes, wait, I need to use your platform. And Victor from Edamom is here, and we are so proud to call him an alum. And he launched with us. He had a phenomenal app that he was putting out there, and people could buy this app, and they would be able to contribute on PieShell and help give him some funding to grow. But he also knew it was a marketing tool because he was actually, keep me honest, Victor, doing an equity raise at the same time. So he really used us uniquely as a marketing play. A couple months, he reached his goal, but a couple months after that, he actually shared, we did a blog because we love to keep up to date with where everybody is. And he shared that as a result of crowdfunding with us, he found out that people didn't actually want what he was providing in an app form. Well, that can be really tough, and it was incredibly generous that he shared that with us. But people always ask me, what do you want in a founder? And I always say, I want people that listen, because you're going to have tens of hundreds of thousands of people reach out to your campaign. And, you know, opinions are like belly buttons. Everyone's got one, and they're absolutely happy to share, and it's the greatest advice that they can give you in your crowdfunding. And Victor actually took that information, pivoted, now has a SaaS platform. Keep me honest, he is the nutrition arm of Epicurious, Chowhound, New York Times, but he took that little bit of info that he was able to get from crowdfunding and really take it and take his business to the next level. And he has done phenomenal things since then, and you should definitely check him out. The other thing you get is customer loyalty. To expand on that a little, people that invest in you, whether they're writing you a little baby check and you're sending them a thank you reward, which is your product, or whether you're actually doing equity crowdfunding and they actually get a piece of your business, they are ride or die. These people will be there with you from day one. They want to see you successful. They want to see you grow. I had a conversation at lunch, and I shared an homage to my grandmother who used to say, a friend in need is a friend indeed. And that's exactly what crowdfunding is. So many people want to help early stage startups, and they don't know how to do it because, first of all, they think you're all crazy because startups are the only people willing to work a 70-hour work week to avoid a 40-hour work week. So they don't know what you do. They know you need a lot of money. They don't think they can help. But when you do crowdfunding, it helps them help you. And you can reach out and ask for that support and ask for that little bit of money, and usually they're more than happy to give it to you. It really, when we talk about brand awareness, it gets you in front of some phenomenal companies. People are going to learn about what you're doing and pay for the privilege. We just shared that we have enterprise clients in our pipeline. Adam Simons is the head of emerging brands at Clorox, and they are talking to us, and we're working with them. But one of the reasons why they're doing that is because enterprise, Fortune 500 companies, the early stage guys, everyone assumes they understand why they're doing it. But why would these big guys do it? Like, why would they use crowdfunding? Well, they could take a huge marketing budget. They could do media outreach. They could do press releases. They could do social buys. They could put it all out there, spend a year building it out, push it out, and hope like heck that somebody walks into a store and buys their product. Or they could do all of the exact same things. They could do all of their media, all of their press releases, and push it towards the launch of a crowdfunding project. Within 30 days, they will have reached their goal. They will have marketed to tens of thousands of people. They most likely will have thousands to tens of thousands of people that have contributed to get their product in their home. Now, you have the data of the customer, you're in their house, they're going to be brutally honest with whether they like it or not, instead of kind of like when they're in Whole Foods and they taste it and they go, that's delicious. and then they walk away and spit it into the napkin. You're really going to get phenomenal feedback. So those are things that you're going to want to do. So, of course, by being out there, proving you're successful, the media is going to see about you. They're going to see what you're up to. I crowdfunded in the fall. I did an equity crowdfunding project. Every penny I've raised, I've done with crowdfunding. I did GoFundMe. I asked for 10, and I made 13. Made up weird gifts that I had to send to people, and then I did an equity one in the fall. But as a result of doing the equity crowdfunding, I had a little email that came to me that said, "We'd like to talk to you on CNN Money." I'm like, riddle me what? That's crazy. So Wednesday before Thanksgiving, I was talking to Maggie Lake about what crowdfunding was and how it's about giving and building community and getting out there. We've already talked about the successful ideas and how people can see that, and how angels and venture capitalists and even loan advisors, we work with a lot of sometimes niche VCs that invest in all natural, vegan, plant-based, or people that are more CPG. And they talk to us and they're like, look, go to Cheryl, prove your concept, and then come back. We are not the silver bullet, but we absolutely are a phenomenal resource for people to truly understand and to see if people want your concept. It's like a resume. I always say, as many wonderful things as you can put on that resume to show how good you are at what you do, the better off you are. So if you're walking up to a VC and you're like, look, some people use the term pre-sold or raised this much, then that's something that actually says something to these folks. But it doesn't end there. If you are one of the people, take Flowhive, the absolute largest crowdfunding campaign on Indiegogo. It's a phenomenal beehive that you turn a tap and honey just runs into a jar. $13 million they raised on that platform. And I know that because I hired the person that found them. So we've just got our newest campaign strategist who brings 4 years from Indiegogo, and they shared that that was great that they did that. But the absolute next thing that had to do is that you have to deliver. One of the challenges with crowdfunding sometimes is that when you really oversell and you get that lightning in a bottle and you really grow, you really have to be very, very careful that you can actually deliver and get your product out to those people, because at the end of the day, you do want to put your item out there. Food guys have a little bit of a challenge, which is one of the things that we really know and understand at PieShell. We had a project last year that was ice cream. Anyone think we're shipping ice cream around the country? No, not at all. But that's one of the things that we help people understand. So what we did with them is their highest gift level, for example, is they raised $95 at that gift level. And what did they do for that level? They, of course, gave people coupons and discounts for a year or a life. But the biggest thing they did is they said to these people, you are now part of our virtual R&D team. You are part of my company now. We are not going to put another flavor on the shelf until we bounce it off all of you, because you were here, you believed in us, and you grow. That's phenomenal. We all know how much focus groups are. We all know how testing sites can be. We know how that can be fickle. You now have a phenomenal pool of people to be able to help you get to that next level. So the other thing that you want to know is that if you have had a successful crowdfunding campaign, you've got a 90% chance to still be in business between 1 and 4 years later. That is something that you can take to the bank, because we all know the horrific stat that 85 to 90% of companies that walk the floor at Expo West are not going to be there next year, and that's heartbreaking. And that's one of the things that we love the most, is that we just want to give them one more day. We want to give them one more, arrow in the quiver, tool in the tool belt, so that they can really make it, because they are the ones doing all of the hard work. We very much, like the name implies, want to be foundational and supportive. PieShell is the name of my mom's first company. She used to make pies out of the basement of our house, and we made 10,000 pies a year, and she didn't get the fancy title like we do now. I am called an entrepreneur, and she was just a hard-working woman, and we're just so proud to be part of that lineage. But we just want to pay it forward. We want people to know what it is and what it isn't, and actually help really grow their company. And so to give them a tool that is truly a small incubator of your entire business, and in 2 to 3 months, and truly get the marketing benefits, the media, the investment, the knowledge and the growth, and that helps your company be more professional. It helps you understand your audience, and it helps you to be here up to 4 years later. I mean, that is worth every single penny. This is the picture that we've got there is Regrained. Has anybody heard of Regrained? Dan is not here, I don't believe, but I'm absolutely giving him a shout out. I was on a panel with him, gosh, last week or the week before. But they've done phenomenal things. They had a really phenomenal first reward-based platform, and then they did an equity raise in the fall, and they raised $690,000 from over 700 investors. So again, there are 700 people out there singing the praises of Regrain, and it deserves to be sung. It's a phenomenal product. So the question is, what are you waiting for? So thank you so much, everybody. It was such a great day. Appreciate it.
Got time for a couple quick questions. So I was looking at your site before we chatted today, and I saw that the majority of food products fail on other crowdfunding sites.
Yeah.
So why is that the case? We've just talked about how crowdfunding can be so good for your business, but if you're not going to succeed, or the likelihood is you won't succeed on another platform, that can be kind of scary.
It's absolutely heartbreaking, because what you're doing are two things that a lot of us were raised not to do: ask for money and ask for help. And you've put yourself out there and you're being brutally honest. The failure rates on the big sites they have a 75% failure rate. The biggest reasons is that it's just not your audience. I mentioned that Salam's joined us from Indiegogo, and even if you made it into the newsletter, which was really hard to do as a food brand, you're going out to people that are looking to find out about drones. And so we took that on board, and that's our focus, is our audience is uniquely food and beverage. And the other thing is, they don't know what they're doing. I mean, a lot of people make a kick-ass chocolate chip cookie, but they don't know how to tweet, or they don't know how to do the social, or they don't know how to do a video, and it's incredibly intimidating. So what we do at PieShell is we're very much like Thrive Market. We're very curated. We make sure they know how to crowdfund properly, and we won't launch them unless they've done that. And as a result, we have a 100% success rate for everybody on the platform.
So you said it can be tricky to put yourself out there. And you do this to get marketing, to get attention.
Yeah.
What happens if you, for some reason, go with another platform and you don't get funded? What should you do? Like, how do you address that with the people who did fund you? Should you try it again later?
You need to find out why you failed. You need to identify the reason. Is it because you didn't know what you were doing? Is it because it wasn't the correct platform or the correct audience for you? Or is it the harsh reality, which you do need to learn, that nobody wanted your product? And what about that? Is it that they didn't want? Is it that you're not saving baby seals at the same time, and there's 100 other granola companies out there? Like, what's the real reason? And take that information and put it into your business. And it could be to launch another crowdfunding, or it could just be to better your company.
And if you are like, I think you said Flowhive, right?
Yeah.
So if you are like Flowhive and you just well surpass your goal,
yeah.
Besides like taking a second, having a glass of champagne, maybe some chaga.
That's it, maybe some chaga.
What's the first thing that's most important to do when you suddenly have all these orders you have to fill?
You need to be ready to fill those orders. You need to have everything in place so that the minute that those orders come in, we equate it to standing on the carpet at Shark Tank. We actually just had a project that ended with us called Dope, and it's a raw cook. It's a cookie dough that is, in a ice cream cone type thing. And she just did a casting call for Shark Tank. And she needs to be able that once she's there, she's going to be able to truly deliver and be able to answer the demand of that product. So, because there's nothing worse than the kiss of death of you get all these orders and you can't actually fulfill them. But if that should happen, the number one thing we tell everybody is be brutally open and honest. People will be incredibly receptive and understanding if things are delayed and you just say, oh my gosh, we were overwhelmed. We never expected that you would love us this much. We knew that we had a great product, but you have overwhelmed us and it's going to take us a little longer. Honesty is absolutely the best policy. Transparency, communication. At the end of the day, crowdfunding is about a relationship. So whether it's a partner, whether it's a company, or whether it's someone that believes in your vision, just be honest and open and communicate with them.
Well, thank you so much for being so honest and communicating with us today about this amazing technique. And I'm sure if there's any more questions, you'll be sticking around hopefully to answer them.
Absolutely. Thanks so much.